but I could not figure out the bleeds. And I'm like, I cannot die to Aarkus. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for War 4 of the season. I personally been having a very good season, been very excited about it. Not a ton of fights, but I've been fulfilling a good role with some unique champions, and I've been pumped up to do it. For Loki, though, we've been a bit hit and miss. We definitely want to get the win. Let's get some wins and then get some comfort going, get solidly into Masters. I spent the day at the beach with my family, and I let Taters know, my BG planner, that's what was going to be happening. He's like, do not worry about it, dude. We got you covered. He set me up with some fights. We're still going to be helpful playing a role. And I just need to get them in by the end of the night. And I was like, okay, fine. I can do that. That's not going to be a problem. And then it was a problem. And you're going to see that. We are going to see that. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this. This is section 1. I am going into, what is that, lane 7 there here. So we've got this human torch. I'm going to go and show the nodes. I'm trying to show the nodes where I'm coming from on the map too. So we've got Kinetic, Transference, Power Bond. And I knew that I was a bit rushed. Like I did some duels. I looked through the things. Like I'm not rushing, but maybe not quite as much preparation as normally. This is going to be pure parry and heavy. And I'm not even going to try to dex his specials. I really knew that with the damage from Archangel, I even ran max crit masteries and then also deep wounds, just because like I'm aware of what my mental state was, the kind of wanted to get back to my family and those sorts of things. And I didn't want to be a problem here. I didn't want to be a problem. I want to be an asset, not a problem. So here we go. We're putting on our guidance boost. I want to be aware of Vivified. So Longshot's going to be getting a little bit more power here. But again, I'm going to use the invulnerability boost just in case anything goes wrong. I'm going to use the Archangel, still have those same masteries, right? Increasing the length of his bleeds and increasing my chance to crit. And it's going to be parry and heavy. And I don't want to deal with his specials. I don't want to deal with his, I can't think of what it's called right now, but his Pure of Heart and his Nullificate. I don't want to deal with any of that. And I'm not going to need to because Archangel will kill so quickly. These are not the fights where the champions tried to kill me, all right? Or the game. We'll get into that though. We'll get into that. I'm very excited to kind of show that to you and see if you guys can figure out what happens in this one particular fight. Good thing I had the indestructible boost. Good thing I had the indestructible boost there. You can see I'm taking some hits. I'm not worried about the degen from hitting me. This is my last fight with Archangel. And even if he wasn't, right now, I want to help us win, and I help us win by not dying. So if I have to heal up, fine. That is absolutely fine. So there we go. Nothing overly tricky about either of those fights. Now, here's where some of the, I think, nuance and that sort of fun stuff is coming in. So I know some of you are going to ask, how are you getting the Odin buffs? That is a teammate of mine. I think it was Panda Man Pete, who I'm sure you know, had an Odin on his team. He placed them on this node. Then I later came up, and then so it's the next champion to take that fight in that node. It's going to be me with Angela. Now, because of that, my Angela is Sig 200. So because of these extra buffs, damaging debuffs that have a duration, this is going to play a role later, should not be on me at all. I did rechange my masteries to run full recoil. I'm also going to use the pre-fight from White Magneto. So even though Jabari Panther has that cleanse mechanic, which you can put into a time down, you know what I'm to cooldown. I did a lot of duels against her. She was the champion I spent my time dueling. And I was able to handle her fine with the 3-star Angela. I just baited heavies, or if I parried her, I knew that the first parry would not take. The cooldown would go on her cleanse mechanic. The next parry would take. So here we go. We're going to go into this. I don't remember there being anything too tricky about the node. The Angela doesn't handle fine. The Hazard Shift, Incinerate, Poison. Angela should handle that fine. Incinerate and Poison. Keep that in mind. This is, again, going to play a role. And that's one of the reasons, like, when I first took Angela to Sig 200 rank 3, I think I had to put a few stones into her. Not many, though. I almost immediately regretted it. I very rarely used her. Got the Odin synergy. That's really cool. She can do some damage. And now I'm absolutely loving her because she has a role, and it's an awesome role and a vital one in war. So there we go. You saw that she, Jabari Panther tried to cleanse that pre-fight stun, but she can't. It's a passive stun. Nothing she can do about it. So there we go. So I am now ensnared. I really do know how to dodge the SP1. It's not that bad. If you're having trouble with it, duel her a few times. You'll get it. And I'm using the invulnerability, so I'm feeling great. I'm like, you know, this is going to be fine. I'm much more comfortable with the SP1 of it than the SP2. She catches me on the dodge back, but again, no big deal. I hit her because I'm like, oh, she's going to have to put the SP2. I don't want to mess with this one. I do have the evade, but again, I'm just going safe. I'm going to have a few health pots, no big deal. And I'm just like, I'm going to go all the way to the SP3. I'm going to get the aptitudes, all that stuff. And then I'm just going to hit really, really hard afterwards. I know a lot of people like to throw the special in between 1 and 2 bars of power, which it does work. It does work exceptionally well. But I'm like, you know what? I know that the going all the way to SP3 can work well. And then I take a heavy to the face. I can take a heavy to the face. I'm like, all right, fine. All right, maybe I should just get back to my family. And I was like, no, you know what? All my fights are open. I'm going to get them all down now. I'm boosted big. Let's get them all down now. I'm actually playing fine. Kind of forgot about the mistake in the fight there against Longshot. And then I thought I played well there against Jabari, except for the taking the heavy while blocking. Now you saw, we're going up against this Vision Aarkus. And I usually never have trouble with Aarkus. I usually also often take him with Sasquatch, Clairvoyant, or Doctor Doom. And I think there's some things you're starting to see there. So I'm getting up to this node. My war fight note said to use my white Magneto pre-fight stun, which I was trying to figure that out because let's go and take a look at the node. This is lane 9, section 2. And I figured, you know what? I'm not going to be taking any other fights. Might as well. That's probably why they want me to use this, because there's one eye open. So I'm not going to be stunning him and hitting him because all that damage is going to be reflected back onto me. We have Hazard Shift, Shock and Bleed. Angela's great for Hazard Shift. I don't need to be worried about that at all. Very comfortable fighting Aarkus. I know the SP1 evade. The SP2, if he gets to it, I'll just block it. I figured, you know what? He might even get to his SP3 because I don't have a way to handle his power gain. So fortunately, I'm going to throw on my invulnerability boost. Keep in mind, I usually take this fight with Doom, Sasquatch. I'm sure some of you are already kind of starting to figure out what's about to happen here. I haven't died all season. I haven't died in quite a while. And really not thinking that this is going to be a tough fight. And I'm just going in and wailing in on him. And then I'm starting to notice, like, why is my health bar going down so much? I wanted to be aggressive. Wanted to kind of get the AI feeling like it was in trouble so it would throw specials. And right about now, I'm starting to wonder, what is going on? Now, I'm also going to pause this. Because at the corner of my eye, I noticed I have bleeds on me. I have 3 bleeds on me. And it made me wonder what the heck is going on. And right about now, I'm starting to remember, that's right. There's no duration on the cold snap that Aarkus places. Angela's SIG ability reduces the duration of those damaging debuffs. But if they don't have a duration, she can't reduce them. They're going to stay on. That's why the poison from the recoil masteries does not go away with Angela. It stays on. And so the armor breaks, which if you stay too close to Aarkus, if you stay close to him for too long, he places those armor breaks and then the cold snap comes on. I figured that out. I remembered that, but I could not figure out the bleeds. And I'm like, I cannot die to Aarkus. I cannot. This is going to be so embarrassing. I probably didn't think of something in our action. I don't know why the bleeds are on me, but if I stay away, maybe Angela's heals will kick in. You see I have 6 of them in the charge. That's what that like heart purple thing is. I have now 7. If I can just slow play this long enough, maybe I can heal up. She's starting to hit pretty hard. We can get this down. And so I'm just like, I need to stay away from him. If I have to parry stun him, I will. I even have the white max pre-fight, so I don't have to worry about the tenacity that comes from Vision Aarkus's signature ability. We are now in the shock portion, right, of the hazard shift. So I feel like I can probably hit in safely. I just need to back away. You can see I'm backing away quick enough so the cold snap's not doing too much damage. If I had played this way from the very beginning, obviously this fight would have been fine. I don't want to throw my SP1 because I'm worried that if I do with recoil, what if I die first? Even though I felt sure that the special would kill him. That's why I didn't throw that SP1. I would have ready to evade the SP2 if I needed to, and then hit into his block to finish him off. I'm curious to see if any of you know why the bleed stayed. I could not for the life of me figure it out. I even talked to a couple players, they're like, I don't know. I checked in with the rankings review team, the team that helps me with my rankings for my monthly champion tier list and rankings. There's a reason why I say watch these channels. They will make you better at this game. And they pointed it out right away. They're like, he was running deep wounds. He was running deep wounds. That mastery gets calculated after the duration decrease of Angela's SIG. So as a result, in fighting Hazard Shift, if you're using Angela, those bleeds will stay longer. Yes, a lot of the damage I took was from the cold snap. So if I played that properly and maybe even hit into him less with the bleed up, I probably would have been just fine. This fight, I'd taken some damage, but not as much as I did. But if you ever fight this, Be aware of obviously the cold snap, which you probably are, but also keep in mind that those bleeds are going to have an increased duration should you hit him when the bleed portion of the hazard shift is up. Really, really, I felt simultaneously bad and great about that fight. Bad because I should have thought of these things. Great because I calmed down, I knew that I had made a mistake, and I tried my best to figure out a solution to still solo the fight. That is a skill. I've gotten significantly better at that. We've seen that come into play. Very, very happy. I hope that's something you guys can take away from it. And if you take a hazard shift with the bleeds in a war scenario with Angela, and it's because he had the mastery of deep wounds. So now going on, I'm feeling fine. I've fought in Havok. I think this is my third Havok. I've now fought in this season with only 4 wars, but this is part of why Angela is so good for this current variation or iteration of war, this current war map, this current war with the bands. She is fantastic for it. You see the damage she is doing. I have on the invulnerability because, well, why wouldn't I? But it's still on from the last fight, and I wanted to get in for this one before it fell off because I was aware. I wasn't shaken from the previous fight. In fact, if anything, I was feeling really good from it. But I was aware, like, maybe there's something I'm not thinking of. You see, I took a smack to the face there, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And so Angela's really surprising me. I've been very, very pleased with her. I've been pleased actually with her damage. I was aware of these other things she could do, the ability to parry non-contact hits, keep up an armor up against Havok. That's why I was throwing my specials as quick as I could, because I wanted to make sure I continuously had at least one armor up there to deal with the plasmas from Havok. She can parry his non-contact hits. And yeah, so that was great. And I guess that opponent probably wasn't running deep wounds, so I didn't need to worry about it as much. For Loki, we played very, very well. This is how we can play. I know how we can play because I know how skilled they are. I think 29 of the 30 people in For Loki put out war videos, so I watch them. I know how good they are. I'm joking, not that many do, but a lot do. But I see the fights. I know the skill level of the players in this alliance, so that felt great. We clearly won the war. Cat Lingerie, obviously you played well. You know, it is what it is. These things happen. And I think probably because of time zones, we got a lot of our fights in early. They probably knew that they were down and it stopped boosting and things like that. So excellent war to Cat Lingerie. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how your war season's going. And I'm very curious in the comment section, how many of you knew beforehand about the possibility of the deep wounds being an issue? And then after you saw the fight, you were like, no, it's going to be deep wounds. I'm curious. Thank you so much for watching. Hope your war season's going well. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.